Someone is lying to you right now. Not a stranger, not some politician on a screen. Someone in your life, someone close. They are looking you in the eyes, speaking calmly, and every word they say is rehearsed. You cannot hear the lie because you are listening to their voice, but their body is screaming the truth, and you are missing it. That is not your fault. Nobody taught you. The schools trained you to memorize facts, not to read humans. Your parents taught you manners, not perception. The world taught you to stare at screens until you forgot how to stare at people. But here is what should terrify you. Every single day, people make decisions about you based on what your body reveals. Your boss decides if you are confident or weak before you finish your first sentence. Your date decides if you are trustworthy before you tell your first story. Your friends, your family, your enemies, they are all reading you. And if you are not reading them back, you are not participating in your own life. You are a passenger in a car someone else is driving. In 1988, a man walked into FBI headquarters and confessed to a murder he did not commit. He was sweating, his hands shook, his voice cracked. Every agent in that room was convinced. Every agent except one. That one agent noticed that when they spoke of the crime scene, the man's feet pointed toward the door. But when they spoke of his alibi, his feet pointed back toward the agent. His body was not confessing guilt. His body was screaming terror. Someone had threatened his family. He was sacrificing himself to protect them. One agent saw what the body revealed. One innocent man walked free, and the real killer was caught 72 hours later. That agent was Joe Navarro. For 25 years, he hunted spies and terrorists not by listening to what they said, but by watching what their bodies could not stop saying. And what he discovered is the most liberating and terrifying truth you will ever hear about human connection. The truth is always visible. We are just looking in the wrong place. You have been lied to about body language. You have been told that crossed arms mean defensiveness, that liars avoid eye contact, that the face is the window to the soul. These are not just wrong, they are poison. They make you confident in your ignorance. They make you believe you can read people when you are actually blind. Crossed arms mean nothing by themselves. The body does not speak in single gestures. It speaks in context, in history, in the temperature of the room, and the pain in someone's lower back, and the simple fact that some people find crossing their arms comfortable. Liars often make more eye contact than truth-tellers because they are performing honesty. They are staring into your eyes to convince you they have nothing to hide, and in that overperformance, they reveal themselves. And the face? The face is the most dishonest part of the human body. We begin learning to fake facial expressions before we can speak. We smile when we are miserable. We look interested when we are bored. We manufacture sympathy when we feel nothing. The face is not a window. It is a mask factory. And if you are reading people from the face down, you are doing it exactly backward. The truth lives lower, much lower, and that is where your power begins. The FBI method is not a set of tricks. It is not a shortcut to becoming charismatic or winning arguments. It is a discipline, a way of seeing, a commitment to noticing what everyone else ignores. And it starts with 5 steps that will rewire how you move through the world. Step 1 is deceptively simple and brutally difficult. Be a competent observer of your environment. But here is what nobody tells you. You are not a competent observer. You are walking through your life in a state of inattentional blindness. Harvard psychologists proved this with an experiment that should have shaken the world. They showed people a video of a basketball game and asked them to count the passes. In the middle of the game, a person in a gorilla suit walked through the frame, stopped, beat their chest, and walked off. Half the viewers never saw the gorilla. Half. They were so focused on what they were told to see that they became blind to what was actually there. This is not a trick of the mind. This is the architecture of the mind. We see what we expect to see. We miss what we are not looking for. And in that gap between expectation and reality, deception thrives. Before you can read a single person, you must learn to see the room itself. When you enter a space, give yourself 3 seconds. Not staring, not obvious. Just absorb. Where are the exits? Who is positioned to see them? Who has angled their body away from the group even while their face participates in the conversation? These 3 seconds are the difference between someone who is present and someone who is sleepwalking through their own life. Wake up. The world is speaking to you. Start listening. Step 2 is where almost every amateur fails, and it is the reason most people think body language reading does not work. They see one suspicious behavior and they pounce. A scratch of the nose, a glance at the door, a shift in posture, and they declare in the privacy of their own minds that this person is lying or nervous or hiding something. But behavior without a baseline is not intelligence. It is noise. Imagine a doctor who has never taken your temperature before announcing that you have a fever because the thermometer reads 99 degrees. Without knowing that your normal temperature is 97, that reading means nothing. The body is the same. You must make a mental record of a person's starting position before you can interpret any deviation from it. How do they sit when they are comfortable? Where do their hands rest when they are not performing? What is their breathing rhythm when they feel safe? What does their face look like when they are not trying to convince you of anything? This is the baseline. It is invisible work. It requires patience that our attention economy has trained out of us. We want instant reads. We want to look at someone and know their secrets in a glance. But the hidden truth of human behavior is that the most valuable information takes time to extract. It requires watching someone long enough to know what their normal looks like, so that when their normal breaks, you notice the crack. Establish the baseline first. Always. It is boring. It is invisible. It is the foundation upon which every other skill is built. And if you skip it, you are building your house on sand. Step 3 is the step that destroys everything you thought you knew about reading people. We are instinctively taught to read from the head down, face first, eyes second, shoulders third. Maybe, if we are being thorough, we glance at the hands. The FBI reads from the feet up, and the reason for this is buried deep in our evolutionary history, in the part of our brain that existed before language, before civilization, before we learned to perform emotions for social survival. For millions of years, our ancestors' feet and legs were their primary survival tools. They touched danger first: sharp rocks, predators, unstable ground. They had to react instantly, without thought, without deliberation. Freeze to avoid detection. Fight to survive. Flee to live another day. That survival wiring is still inside you. It has not disappeared just because you now wear shoes and walk on pavement. Your feet point toward what you want. They shift away from threats. They bounce when you are excited. They lock completely still when you are terrified. Meanwhile, your face has been under training since you were a toddler. You learned to smile when you received a terrible gift because your grandmother was watching. You learned to look interested in meetings that bored you because your boss was speaking. You learned to manufacture sympathy because it made you likable. The face is a stage. The feet are the backstage. They reveal what the performance is trying to conceal. When you are in conversation with someone, drop your eyes for half a second. Check their feet. Are they pointing at you or at the exit? Are they still or bouncing with energy they are trying to suppress? Are they tucked under the chair as if the body is preparing to launch itself away? That one glance tells you more than their entire face. This is the hidden architecture of human behavior. The face lies because it has been taught to lie. The feet tell the truth because they have never learned to do anything else. Step 4 is about understanding what the FBI actually looks for. They are not looking for someone who appears nervous. Nervousness is cheap. It is everywhere. Job interviews make people nervous. First dates make people nervous. Speaking in public makes people nervous. If the FBI arrested everyone who looked nervous, they would arrest half the population. What they look for is change, the precise moment when a person shifts from relaxed to stiff, from open posture to closed, from animated to still, from still to fidgeting. That shift is the limbic system firing. It is the brain's threat detector, the ancient alarm system that predates rational thought, responding to a stimulus it perceives as dangerous. And here is the crucial part. That response is involuntary. It cannot be rehearsed. It cannot be trained away by foreign intelligence services. It happens in milliseconds, and it is the most honest signal the human body produces. But change without context is still just noise. The professional does not react to the change. The professional notes the stimulus. What was said in the moment before the shift? Who entered the room? What topic emerged? What name was spoken? That stimulus is the key that unlocks the meaning of the behavior. Without it, you are watching a movie with no sound, trying to understand the plot from shadows alone. Step 5 is what separates intuition from intelligence. One behavior means nothing. It is a blip, a coincidence, a person scratching their nose because it itches. Two behaviors, pointing in the same direction, begin to form a pattern. But 3 or more behaviors clustered together, all suggesting the same underlying state. That is when you have something worth acting upon. Navarro calls these gesture clusters, and they are the closest thing to a lie detector that the human body possesses. Imagine you were in a negotiation. The other person suddenly leans back, creating physical distance. They cross their legs away from you, a subtle but powerful signal of disengagement. Their hand rises to touch their neck, a pacifying behavior that the body uses to self-soothe under stress. Their foot, which had been still, begins to bounce. Each behavior alone could mean anything. Together, they form a constellation screaming that this person is uncomfortable with what just happened. The amateur sees one thing and makes a judgment. The professional waits for the cluster. The amateur wants to be right quickly. The professional wants to be accurate, even if it takes longer. This patience is not just a skill, it is a philosophy. It is the recognition that human beings are complex systems, and complex systems cannot be decoded with simple rules. Everything you have learned can be distilled into one framework that will change how you move through the world. After 25 years in interrogation rooms, Navarro reduced all body language to 2 categories: comfort behaviors and discomfort behaviors. Comfort means, I am safe here. I want to be near you. I agree with what you are saying. I am open to what comes next. Discomfort means something is wrong. I want to leave. I do not trust this. I am stressed, threatened, or hiding something. Every cue falls into one of these buckets: the tilt of a head, the direction of feet, the tension in shoulders, the rhythm of breathing, the position of hands. When in doubt, ask yourself the ultimate question. Does this look like comfort, or does this look like discomfort? On a date, you are looking for comfort, leaning in, mirroring your movements, feet pointing toward you like compass needles finding north, their body unconsciously copying the angle of yours. In a negotiation, you are looking for discomfort when you name your price. That discomfort is leverage. It tells you where their boundary lives. With family, you are looking for the moments when comfort shifts to discomfort. When a name is mentioned and the body closes. When a topic arises and the breathing changes. That is where secrets live. That is where the truth hides in plain sight. Now, you need 3 techniques that operate below the level of consciousness. These are not tricks. They are psychological keys that unlock ancient circuits in the human brain. The first is what I call the trust triangle. If you want someone to trust you instantly, combine 3 nonverbal signals simultaneously. Tilt your head slightly while listening. This is not accidental. The first face every human being ever saw was their mother's, tilted down, looking at them with concern and love. That angle is hardwired into our nervous system as safety. Nod while they speak. Not aggressively, not constantly. Just enough to say without words, I am here. I hear you. Your words matter to me. Position yourself at an angle rather than square on. Square is confrontational. It triggers the ancient threat response. Angle says we are on the same side. We are looking at the world together. Use these 3 in your next difficult conversation and watch the other person soften without knowing why. The second technique is the lie detector question. Never ask, did you do it? That question is binary, yes or no. It can be rehearsed. It can be performed. Instead, ask what happened next. Liars prepare their stories forward. They have a script, a timeline, a narrative they have practiced until it feels like memory. But when you ask them to move backward or to add details they never prepared, their cognitive load spikes. Their brain cannot maintain the fiction and generate new information simultaneously. Watch for the cluster. The pause that lasts a beat too long. The eyes that look up and to the side, not remembering but constructing. The hand that rises to touch the face or neck, trying to pacify a nervous system that knows it is being hunted. This is not proof of deception, but it is proof of cognitive strain, and that is where the truth always hides. The third technique is the 3-second rule. Before you interpret any behavior, count to 3. In those 3 seconds, look for 2 more supporting behaviors. If you do not find them, your first observation was noise. Ignore it. This one habit will make you more accurate than 90% of people who believe they can read others. Because it forces you to slow down, it forces you to be humble about what you think you know. And humility is the hidden foundation of all true psychological insight. Remember that innocent man. Remember the agents who were convinced by his sweat and his shaking and his confession. Remember the one agent who saw what the body revealed that words could not. That man was not guilty. He was terrified. Someone had threatened his family, and he was confessing to protect them. His feet pointed toward the door when they mentioned the real killer's name. His body wanted to run from that name, even while his mouth claimed responsibility for a crime. One agent, one method, one life saved from a cage. That is the power of reading body language, not as a party trick, not as a way to be more charismatic, but as a way to see the truth that people are desperate to hide. The body does not lie because it cannot. It is older than language. It is older than civilization. It is the only part of us that remembers who we really are when everything else is performing. If you are still here, something in you knows that this matters, not just for catching liars, not just for winning negotiations, but for understanding the people you love, for noticing when your partner is stressed before they say a word, for seeing when your child is scared behind their brave face, for recognizing that the colleague who seems fine is actually drowning. The body is always speaking. The question is whether you are finally ready to listen. This is your moment, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. Now. The next conversation you have, I want you to do something different. I want you to watch the feet before you watch the face. I want you to establish a baseline before you judge a behavior. I want you to count to 3 before you draw a conclusion. I want you to ask yourself, comfort or discomfort, and trust the answer that rises from your gut before your mind has time to argue. This is not about manipulation. This is about clarity. This is about cutting through the noise of performance and pretense and seeing the human being underneath. And that clarity will change everything. Your relationships will deepen because you will finally hear what people are saying without words. Your negotiations will improve because you will know where the real boundaries live. Your intuition will sharpen because you will be feeding it real data instead of assumptions. You will become someone who sees. In a world of people who are sleepwalking through their own lives, you will be awake. And that wakefulness is the rarest and most valuable thing you can offer another human being. The body is a confession machine. It cannot stop revealing what the mind wants buried. The face performs. The feet remember. The hands soothe. The breath betrays. Every shift, every stillness, every angle is a word in a language that predates everything we have built to hide ourselves. Learn this language, speak it fluently, and you will never again be fooled by a smile that does not reach the eyes, by words that contradict the posture, by confidence that masks terror. You will see, and in seeing, you will be free. Free from the manipulation of those who count on your blindness. Free from the loneliness of misunderstanding those you love. Free from the prison of your own assumptions about what people mean when they speak. The world is full of people who are screaming their truth in silence. They are screaming it with their feet, with their breath, with the tension in their shoulders and the angle of their torso. They are screaming it because they do not know how to say it, or because they are afraid to say it, or because they do not even know it is true themselves. And they are surrounded by people who cannot hear them. People who are looking at phones instead of faces. People who are waiting for their turn to speak instead of listening with their eyes. People who have forgotten that the most important conversations happen in the spaces between words. You do not have to be one of those people. You can choose to see. You can choose to listen. You can choose to be the one who notices what everyone else misses. This is the FBI method. But more than that, this is the human method. This is how we were designed to connect before we built walls of words and screens and social performance. This is how we knew who to trust in the dark. This is how we knew who was safe and who was dangerous before we had names for those feelings. That knowledge is still inside you. It has been waiting, and now you have the key to unlock it. Use it. Use it with integrity. Use it with compassion. Use it not to dominate, but to understand, not to manipulate, but to connect. Because the ultimate truth of human behavior is that we all want the same thing. We want to be seen. Not our performance, not our mask. Us. The real, terrified, hopeful, complicated us that hides behind everything we pretend to be. And when you learn to read the body, you learn to see that person. You learn to see them when they are hiding. You learn to see them when they are lying, even to themselves. You learn to see them when they need someone to notice that they are not okay, that they are scared, that they are carrying something too heavy to name. That is the power you are holding right now. That is the responsibility. Do not waste it. Do not let this be another thing you learn and forget. Let this be the moment you decided to wake up, the moment you decided to see, the moment you decided that you would no longer be fooled, no longer be blind, no longer be one of the people who walks past the truth because they were too busy looking at the wrong things to notice what was actually happening. The body is speaking. It has always been speaking. And now, finally, you know how to listen. Now stop watching and start doing. I need you to make a decision right now. Not later, not after you scroll to the next video. Right now. Type the word awake in the comments if you are committing to using these techniques starting today, not tomorrow, today. I read every single comment, and I want to know who is serious about stepping out of the blindness that most people accept as normal. If this video reached you, if it changed something in how you see the world, then smash that like button until it breaks. Not for me, for the algorithm that decides whether this knowledge spreads or dies in obscurity. Share this with one person who needs to see it, one person who is being lied to, who is missing the truth, who is sleepwalking through conversations that could change their life if they just knew how to read them. And if you want me to go deeper, to break down the exact micro-expressions of deception, the specific territorial displays, the lip compression, and the fig leaf, and every single cue that separates the amateur from the professional, then demand it in the comments. If this video reaches 10,000 likes, I will make the next part. No hesitation, no delay. I will sit in this chair and teach you everything the FBI spent decades refining. Subscribe and hit the bell. Not because I need the number, because you need the reminder. Because the world will try to put you back to sleep the moment this video ends. And I will be here every week, dragging you back to wakefulness. The body is speaking. You know how to listen now, so listen. Watch the feet. Trust the clusters. Never stop observing. And I will see you in the next one.